I made a video recently highlighting some of the maritime choke points around the world. Places where geography has played a little trick by funneling really important shipping routes into really narrow waterways. I love looking at maps, so here are some more. The Danish Straits twist between Germany in the south, Sweden in the east, and among the various islands of Denmark. They connect the countries of the Baltic Sea to the North Sea. They can get pretty narrow, with the Swedish mainland only 4 kilometers away at its closest point. Unless, of course, you take a shortcut, the Kiel Canal, or Nord-Ostsee Canal, will let you cut down the length of your journey by avoiding most of the straits. So, why are the Danish Straits so important on a regional scale? Well, it's the only route by which some of the Baltic countries can transfer sea freight, as well as the usual answer, oil. Russia produces a lot of oil, and about 3 million barrels worth per day get shipped through the Danish Straits. Another choke point that Russian oil has to navigate are the Turkish Straits, the Bosporus and the Dardanelles, which are both in Turkey. These straits connect the Mediterranean to the Black Sea, or more accurately, the Dardanelles connects the Aegean Sea, which is part of the Mediterranean, to the Sea of Marmara, and the Bosporus connects the Sea of Marmara to the Black Sea. If you're from around here or know a bit about World War I, these names might be familiar to you. But for anyone needing a quick refresher, the Dardanelles is formed by the Gallipoli Peninsula protruding parallel along the coast of the bigger peninsula. It's little more than 1 kilometre wide at its narrowest point, and is subjected to strong currents, making it a challenge to navigate. The Bosporus, on the other hand, is even narrower, at only 700 metres wide at its narrowest point. It's straddled by the city of Istanbul, but is still an important shipping route, connecting the countries of the Black Sea to the Mediterranean and beyond. Although, in the coming years, it could share that burden with the Istanbul Canal, a proposed waterway that Turkey is planning to build to the west, which would divert ships away from the Bosporus. Inside the Black Sea, we find yet another choke point, the Kerch Strait. The Kerch is sandwiched between the Kerch Peninsula, which is part of the Crimean Peninsula in the west, and the Taman Peninsula in the east. It connects the Black Sea to the mini-Mediterranean Sea of Azov. Mediterranean here used as an adjective, meaning surrounded by land, rather than as a proper noun, as in the Mediterranean Sea. That's right, it's a Mediterranean Sea connected to a Mediterranean Sea, connected to a Mediterranean Sea, connected to the Mediterranean Sea. In fact, a ship travelling from Ukraine to the UAE could pass through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Mediterranean seas, as well as travelling through a choke point within a choke point within a choke point within a choke point within a choke point before getting to the Indian Ocean and completing the journey with yet another choke point. Isn't geography fun? The final set of choke points for this video requires a bit of illustration. Imagine you're shipping goods between Europe and Asia. You could navigate the meandering, tortuous mess of choke points that is Europe, Africa, and Asia. You could spend extra fuel, money, and time traversing the breadth of the Pacific Ocean, going via the Panama Canal and onwards across the Atlantic. Or you could take a more northerly route, cutting across the Arctic Ocean, between the continents of North America and Asia, and dipping through the Bering Sea into the North Pacific and on to East Asia. This route is much, much shorter than going via the Indian Ocean or the Panama Canal, and could save ships a lot of time and money. There are a couple of options when transiting the Arctic. The Northwest Passage cuts between Greenland and Canada, and then winds between Canada's Arctic islands. The Northeast Passage peels around the northern coast of Norway before following the Northern Sea route along Russia's Arctic coastline. Of course, the viability of both of these sea routes is dictated by the amount of sea ice, which varies by the time of the year. A side effect of the sad reality of climate change is the diminishing sea ice in the Arctic Ocean, which will inevitably increase the shipping traffic through the Arctic. In fact, if sea ice continues to melt, the shortest route of all could open up to shipping, the Transpolar Sea Route, which cuts across the middle of the Arctic Ocean. So now we know about these 3 possible routes to get us between Asia and Europe, we can see that they all funnel into this little stretch of water that sits between Russia and the US, the Bering Strait. It's technically about 83 kilometers wide, but thanks to this little pair of islands that helpfully sit in the middle, it's actually about 35 kilometers wide on either side. 35 kilometers is definitely not the narrowest of global choke points, but because of its proximity to 2 superpowers and its increasing global importance in the decades to come as shipping through the Arctic increases, it definitely deserves a spot on this list. A choke point of increasing importance sitting right between Russia and the US? What could go wrong? Well, thanks for joining me for part 2 of this virtual tour of global choke points. Of course, if you haven't seen part 1, you can take a look at that next. Thanks for watching.